Auctions.
Our first thing is auctions. We buy storage units. And when you buy a storage unit, you want to buy what you see. Never bid on what you cannot see. We're going to try to make this vlog short, but it's going to be kind of near impossible because each thing that you buy at auction can be a risk, and we just want to make you aware of these risks so they don't open up a storage unit with a bunch of flat screen TV boxes and you spend $800 on it and there's not one TV in the unit, right?
Yeah, there are a bunch of toolboxes without seeing the tools. I mean,
two points. One storage unit auction we were at was full of music equipment. I mean, amps, subwoofers, guitars, bass, acoustics, keyboards. It literally had concert speakers in it as tall as I am, and I'm 5'7". The guy that we had became friends with bought it. He was sitting beside of us. He bought it for $800. And my father plays music, which he's passed away now. So I kind of knew with the Fender guitars that was in it. You'll hear noise over here. This is our dog at her food bowl. So he bought it for $800, and we were thinking, that could be a deal, that could not be a deal. So he said he was going to have to go home and get his truck and his buddy's truck to come back to clean out the unit. So the following weekend they had another storage unit auction, and he was there, and we asked him about how did he come out with the last one. Absolutely none of the equipment worked. The necks on the guitars were warped. All of the necks on the guitars were warped. The speakers, mice had actually gotten into the speakers there in the storage unit. Nothing was worth anything. And if I'm thinking right, he said that he sold it all for $400.
He just got out of it. He just tried to get what he could get out of it and got rid of it.
Oops. And another unit that we was at another storage unit auction, and they opened it and there was 10 flat screen TV boxes. Everybody went crazy on it, and I think the whole unit sold for $10. And
sold for a lot.
I can't
almost close to $1,000.
Was it?
For all of them.
And these were like 60-inch. These were huge TVs. And so when the auctioneer said sold, the guy ran in there, and every single one of the boxes were empty, and he was SOL because once that auctioneer says sold and you've committed to purchasing that storage unit, you have to pay for it. Okay, another thing we do is auction houses. Go on auctionzip.com. Read your local newspaper in the classifieds. Go on Facebook and do a search of auction and type in the city that you're in and see what's around you. Go on Google and type in auction and type in the city where you're at and see what is around you. If you just type something in Google, it's becoming a really good resource to find stuff. We go to an auction house that they sell by the box lots, like they have boxes and they put a number of things in the boxes. And what we do is when we buy that one box, we're buying that box for that one item. That one item will pay for that whole entire box. The rest of what's in that box is profit. What we do from there is we figure if any of the other items are worth selling on eBay. If not, then the rest of that box will go into our storage building outside, and that will be held back for yard sale season, in which we sell most of that stuff between 50 cents and $2. Excuse me. So if we pay $10 for a box, and there's one item in there that has sold on eBay for $25, we will get it just for that, because we know that the rest of that box is going to be nothing but pure profit. We also buy furniture. We sell it on Craigslist, sometimes Facebook. We've tried to stay away from the Facebook yard sale sites simply because the people, I'm not trying to talk negative, but they're non-committed, and that hurts our sales. When we have to wait 4 days for someone to respond, we've lost potential buyers. So that's the reason why we've started doing our own outlet, because we're in this to make money. And if you have the money right then and there, it's yours. You've got it. But Craigslist, some on Facebook. Facebook is a gamble. Your local radio stations, call them and see if they have something where they run ads, free ads on Sundays for like 2 hours. When you're in gas stations in your area, see if they have like a trading post or anything like that where you can pay $1 or even free to put an ad in it. We do not dumpster dive. We do not dig out the trash. Oddly enough, one of our best things is parts. Believe it or not. We were at an auction and bought a bunch of lawnmower parts. Well, let me back up. Weed eater blades. The box of weed eater blades. We bought a box of weed eater blades, and it was the cutting blades. I paid $5 for the box. There was, what, probably 30, 40 of them in the box. We ended up selling them for $12.99. $12.99 on eBay plus free shipping. And all I done was just took a cardboard box and just slapped them like that. So it kind of like pancaked the blade and sent it first class. And I think the maximum that I paid shipping on one of them was $4.13. So you can do the math on that. When you buy a box lot at an auction like that, you always want to maximize your profit. And I know this may sound extreme, but I figure between 20 and 25% for eBay and PayPal fees. That is what I figure. And the reason why I figure that is because it has actually happened sometimes when I've had to pay 25% of what we made off the item. So I would rather overestimate than underestimate. If I say that I'm buying that box, if I'm going to sell that item for $10, and so I need to mark it up to where I can offset all of those fees, plus to maximize my profit. So if I'm buying an item for $10, I like to sell it for at least $25 to get my profits. If we buy anything in bulk, in quantity, another example, we bought a huge box of high-speed crossover cables. They were the high-end cables. I paid $1 for the whole box. There was 100 in it. I sold them for $10 with free shipping, first class, and I put them in the little envelopes, the padded envelopes, and we made a killing off of that. That was probably one of our best purchases at the auction house. But your furniture can be a good thing on eBay also. We try to mostly sell our furniture on Craigslist. Another way that we get our stuff is when we see ads in a newspaper wanting to sell a estate. We inquire about that.
Or even estate auctions. We can go to the auctions. And
yeah, you're riding around the town, look for signs that says estate auction. Those are really good also. And those, and if I'm thinking correctly, you may want to check your state law. But if it says estate auction, there is always notices sent, printed in the newspaper. And I know the state that we live in primarily, that these auction companies, or auction houses as I like to call them, they're obligated by state law to run an ad in the newspaper for 30 days before they auction the estate off. So that is another place, is, you know, your newspaper, word of mouth. And to be honest, to tell you truthfully, another place that we get our stuff from is ourselves. And it may sound funny, but like the 2-liter bottles, bottle caps, egg cartons, anything. I mean, just anything. Before you put in a trash, think, does this sell on eBay? You would really, really be surprised at the amount of stuff that you put in trash that you can actually sell on eBay. And the way that I see it, I sell them things on eBay to offset the fees, because if I'm putting it in trash, I'd rather list it on eBay and sell it to offset the fees of where I'm paying for this stuff at the auctions to maximize my profits.
Does the thing that you're throwing away, say a mixer or something, is the switch good? Is the beaters good? Or say a microwave oven, is the digital parts good? Is it something that just a fan burned out or something another that's not worth putting a fan in? Well, there may be somebody that just needs the digital parts to fix that microwave with.
Well, yeah, we bought that. We bought a box of drills that did not work. Remember the drills? I think there was 10 drills. DeWalt, Black & Decker, Ryobi. I think I sold them for like $5.99 each. I can't remember exactly, but I know we sold all of them. And what you want to do with stuff like that does not work, put it as used for parts or repair. You don't want to list it as new or just used. You want to do for parts or repair. You want to be as honest as you can. And another thing that I found today on eBay that is funny, I'm sitting right here staring at it, and it's kind of weird, but when I started researching on the internet, the metal tin cans that your pepper is in, the rectangular cans, I looked them up on eBay today, and I could not believe how much them are selling for. And the reason is people are doing crafts with this stuff. And by researching this stuff, that's how I'm finding out. And if you're not sure if something sells on eBay or not, look it up on eBay. Okay, it's just like the pepper tin canisters, whatever you want to call them. I just looked them up today, and I was like, oh my gosh. Another thing too is I've been cleaning out my house and saying if I haven't used it for a year, then it's going to the eBay pile. We are the type of people that when we go to the auction and buy something, we either desperately need it or it's getting sold. We don't hoard. We do not keep stuff from an auction. It's gone. However, the plus side of it is we never have to buy anything in the stores because all of our stuff comes from auction. The things we do need. We've bought cabinets, tables,
silverware, we bought a box of pots and pans in it, and we paid like $10 for the whole great big old box of pots and pans. And down in the bottom of it, there was two little steak knives, and
oh no, it was a huge box. The
box was huge, but
the box, I mean, it was massive. It was kitchen utensils, like the mixers, the spatulas, and stuff like that. That is a great story.
And
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I did.
There was two steak knives in the bottom of the box, and we started looking. There's just something about those knives. They still had the sheaths and all on them. So we started looking. We didn't even look them up on eBay. We just went straight to a yard sale with them, and something just told us to pull those 2 knives out of the box and set them back. And
okay, and I want to pause you right there for a second. What it is the Hillsville Flea Market in Hillsville, Virginia. They have this flea market Memorial Day and Labor Day weekend. This thing is huge. Over 1 million people come through this thing. And we were there on Labor Day weekend, which is the biggest one. And we were flooded with people. And I saw the knives, and I held them up, and I told him, I was like, what should we do? So a lady hollered at me about a bunch of cookie tins. Those are also good sellers. So I forgot about the knives. He went back and dug the knives out of the bottom of the box and put them under the seat in the truck. And we got home, and this is when we just first started selling on eBay. And I like to take the cast iron skillet I have hanging on the wall right now and hit myself upside the head with it. But when we got home that night, we were wore out, and I looked them up on eBay, and they were whooshed off knives. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But they were like the first ones made. And mint condition, had never been used, no scratches, no nothing. Whoever had these knives had them put up. So I hollered and told him, I was like, well, they sell for $150 each. How much should I put them on there for? And he said, we'll do $75. I said, okay.
Starting bid,
$75. So I put them on eBay. They hadn't been on there but 5 minutes, and I got a message. And it says, I will buy these right now and pay you right now if you do it buy it now. Did he pay $75? So my nose is itchy, you have to excuse me. So I went on eBay, and I was a newbie, and I've changed it from bidding to buy it now. So he called me, and we talked for about 2 hours, and he was telling me about different knives and stuff. And I'm going to insert there that when someone is telling you about something, 50% of the time I believe them, 50% of the time I don't. They're either there to help you, they're either there to hurt you and mislead you. So that's the reason why when someone tells me something, I kind of ride the fence with it. I like to do my own research. So, and anything that we're telling you, you can do your own research on as well. But we're trying to give you some pointers to help you out as buyers also. So we talked for probably about 2 hours, and finally he said, well, I guess I better get off here then. He said, did you get your payment? I said, yes, I did. I said, thank you. And he left me positive feedback before he even got the knives. And he said, well, I just wanted to make you aware that these knives sell for $150 each. And I was like, what? So he told me the history behind the knives, and they were actually the first ones that the company had made. And that I could have sold them for $300 for both of them. And I was like, oh, no. So that was our first big hit. But we paid $10 for that great big huge box. We sold the utensils for 50 cents each. These were vintage utensils. There were so many, I didn't care how much I sold them for. The box was full. There was probably 200 in that box. Easily 200. Because when we went to the auction house that day to buy stuff for the flea market, that's all it was kitchen stuff. Kitchen utensils, kitchenware, kitchen gadgets. I mean, just kitchen everything. And so we paid, the auction houses also have buyer fees. So we paid what?
Yeah, about $13.
About $13 for the box. And so $75, you know, you might as well, I know that I'm underestimating. $50 for the knives. And then I think we made $200 or $150 on the box. So we came out really good. That's why we like to buy things in bulk. And if you can get kitchen utensils in a big quantity like that and sell them for 50 cents, hotcakes all day long. Another place where we get our stuff at is if we have family or friends that are moving. I'll say, hey, you know, if there's anything that you don't want, put it in separate boxes to the side, hold it to the side. I'll either give you a flat price for it, or I'll sell it and we'll split the profit. That works. Rarely do we go to the Goodwill and buy anything. Rarely. One of the reasons is because I have a friend that works at the Goodwill, and they get stuff in that has like lice and bed bugs in it. So that's the reason why we stay away from the fabric stuff at Goodwill. We do shop at the Humane Society thrift stores, and those are excellent places to purchase from and to donate to. At the end of the year, when nothing has sold off of eBay, we like to do what's called a flush, and we take everything to our local Humane Society thrift store and donate it, and start over fresh at the beginning of the year. But there's some things that I won't flush, and that's like local history stuff. Where else do we get stuff from? Vintage stuff is hotcakes these days. Stuff that's crazy that you think that wouldn't sell. Vintage car parts, hood ornaments. What else? Wheels.
Vintage
parts.
Corningware. I mean, Corningware. The old style Corningware, or Fire King Corningware.
Fire King, yeah.
I mean, those sell. We sell those pretty easy. I mean, or take a box of pot lids. I mean, a lot of times the pot's still good, but the lid's screwed up, or they can't find the lid, and so they'll buy the pot lid. I mean, so we very seldom ever throw anything away, but we do have a scrap metal bin out back that we put our scrap metal in, and we take it once or twice a year to load it up on the truck and haul it to the local steel mill or steel recycler, and you'd be surprised at how much money it ends up being, you know, with what you have accumulated over the period of 6 months. And that in turn increases our profits to making it worth what we're throwing away. So anything that we end up giving away or whatever at the end of the year, even our scrap pile is generally also a general profit. So I mean, we don't make special trips to the local scrapyard, but if we're going to an auction or something in that direction, we'll leave a little early and throw our scraps on the back of the truck. And we've walked out of there with as much as $100 back in our pockets just by scrapping out some of the stuff that we've scrapped out that wasn't worth selling or wasn't worth fooling with to try to make it sellable at yard sales or flea markets or any other thing that we're trying to sell at. So
we're finding that parts is a huge thing these days. Lawnmower parts, car parts, vintage car parts. People seem like they're trying to fix stuff and DIY stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought someone pulled into our driveway. But it seems like the people are more into that stuff than they are to buy new stuff. I see a lot of people asking, what is this? What is this? When you go to an auction, like if you're going to an auction house, if you find a local auction house, call them and ask them if they have what's called a preview. Like you can go to the auction house and look to see what is coming up for auction the next time, and then that gives you time to walk through there and look at the stuff, look up underneath it to see the hallmarks or if there's any writing or anything on it. If you start teaching yourself how to find out this information instead of just going to the internet or no, let me back up, like to Facebook and saying, what is this? If you start training yourself how to research this stuff and find out what it is, you're going to get a lot better at it. A whole lot better at it.
A lot of stuff such as your sterling silver, your gold, or something else, there will be hallmarks on it. I mean, what is it, sterling silver? I mean, it has something like a lion head on it,
yeah,
or something.
There's different stamps.
I mean, different stamps. So just because it don't come up as, say, on the clasp of a necklace, it don't say 14 karat. Look up the other hallmarks on it, because it could be sterling silver, or it could be another type of precious metal. So
a jeweler's loop, you can get those cheap for like $4 on eBay. Those are one of the most handiest things, because in order to see those hallmarks that he's talking about, you'll need a jeweler's loop. And then what you do from there is just Google it and say lion's head and then 0.925. Look that stuff up on Google and research it. Then you go to eBay once you figure out what it is, determine what it is. Go on eBay and type that in and go to sold listings. Do not look at current listings. If you look at current listings, I can put this aluminum can on eBay and ask for $1 million all day long. But that doesn't mean that's what I'm going to get out of it. What we always do is we go right to the sold items, because if that item has not been sold, it's either two scenarios. It's either bad or it's good. And one time that it really paid off for us was we was at an auction house, and this leg brace came up. It was leather and metal, but it was really nice. It didn't have like the bottom brace to it. And I Googled it and absolutely nothing. Nothing on the internet, nothing on eBay, nothing at all. And there was just one word, and I cannot remember what the name of that word was now, that was wrote on it. And I even typed it in and nothing. And I done leg brace, metal, leather. Sorry about that, cutting our end of our vlog off. But to pick up where we left off at, storage unit auctions, auction houses. Some we do on Facebook. We try to stay away from buying off of Facebook. We do try to sell some of it, but to me it seems like that the people just can't stay committed to picking up their purchases. Craigslist. We have bought and sold off of Craigslist. Estate sales. Your new classifieds in your newspaper. And just look around, just like, say if you live in El Paso, Texas, type in El Paso, Texas auction. And just, there's different things that'll come up. Auctionzip.com is an excellent resource. Yard sales. Yard sales are excellent. And what we do sometimes is, if we run across an ad in the newspaper, say, Wednesday or Thursday, and the people have the address listed, if we ride past their house and see them setting their stuff out, we stop by and say, hey, can we go ahead and start going through your stuff? Sometimes they've even had such good stuff that we've bought it, the whole entire lot, right then and there, so they didn't have to have a yard sale. And that's another thing good too to do, is to make a flat offer to them. And a lot of the times, if people doesn't do it regularly to make money on the side, they'll sell it to you at a good price. Geez, your own home, even stuff in your own home. There's stuff in your house right now that you're not using that you can sell. We try to stay away from clothing. And to me, clothing is too iffy. Too iffy.